Good afternoon. I'm Jeff Kleinman, the editor-in-chief of BevNet, coming to you from Expo West with our Project NOSH editor, Carol Ortenberg. Carol's here to report on some of the emerging food trends that are coming from the floor here. So, Carol, what'd you see?
Sure. Well, we've heard a lot that transparency is very important right now. We've seen it with clear packaging and very clean ingredient lists. And now the next iteration about that is really single origin and single source products.
So that's something we saw a lot with the early chocolate bar industry.
Certainly the chocolate companies are still pioneers of that. Choctaw Yogurt is doing a single origin chocolate ice cream line where the base of the ice cream stays the same, and the only thing that changes is where the chocolate was from in each pint.
Why is this important to consumers?
So first, consumers want a story with their product. It's not just about eating food, it's about understanding where it came from, who made it, and more about production. And with single source and single origin, you really get that story there. Additionally, back to the transparency point, consumers want to know where their food came from. And with this, you can literally, in some cases, like with the Be Local company, trace the honey back to a specific field in an area.
Now, I understand that there's some sort of work being done to certify this origin as well.
Yeah, the Real Food Company does single origin products such as sugar, and they are trying to encourage 100 companies to come and be single origin certified with them.
Speaking of the importance of having a story around the origin of one's food, one of the things that we're seeing a lot of is, hey, I'm eating bugs.
Yeah, high protein's been really on trend for a while now. You had jerky first with meat-based protein. Now you're seeing a lot of plant-based protein options. And next seems to be insect-based protein. At the show, Chapul released a number of cricket-based products. Cricket is kind of the gateway bug, it seems. And for example, they released a flour mix that consumers can substitute in their favorite brownies or cookies. And then, as we just covered on Project NOSH, EXO just received a great round of funding for their cricket-based bars.
So we know that EXO has been a little bit further along in their business plan. They started up about 3 or 4 years ago, and they did just pull in that big investment. But even with the money behind them, when I spoke with them, they were talking about still being a little more deliberate than your traditional emerging brand in terms of route to market.
Yes, that's definitely true. They're trying out a variety of channels, ranging from retailers in the New York area where they're based to CrossFit gyms and Equinox. And, they said that they still see a lot of their customers coming in via e-commerce because that's the place they can tell the story to their customers about this product. And, we also saw Biddy's Cricket Puffs, and they were just brand new starting out. So there's a lot of insect-based brands, and they're all at really different stages in their development right now.
One of the things that I think that EXO online platform speaks to is the growth of narrowcasting for the consumer diet, and this idea that my friend Mike Bergmeyer at Whipstitch Capital has called the long tail of food. But it also speaks to the kind of deliberateness with which they choose their protein. And I think we saw a big fight almost break out over the sourcing of that protein earlier in the show. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, we were at a really interesting panel, and there was a near rumble that almost broke out between some meat-based snack companies and plant-based food companies about which was the direction for protein going forward.
Yeah, it's interesting because they both have sort of higher environmental aims, but the question is, what's the best way to approach it for the planet? Also interesting, General Mills is an investor in both of them. So moving on from protein to fat,
Yes.
What are we talking about here?
Yeah, so full fat is definitely back. For a while, low fat was all the rage. And a lot of categories that really were focused on low fat, like yogurt and cottage cheese now see a lot of products in them switching to sort of full fat products. Smari just added a bunch of whole milk yogurts in their Icelandic yogurt line.
Yes, Siggy's did too. They've rolled out a 4% fat version, whereas once one of the most exciting parts of Siggy's was that you could get 14, 15 grams of protein and 90 calories and no fat.
Yeah. And, we just saw the investment in Good Culture by the 301 group of General Mills. And, they produce a full-fat cottage cheese. And I think that really speaks to consumers wanting an entire solution in their breakfast, something that gives them fat, gives them protein, keeps them powered for the day, and is really convenient and easy on the go.
The full fat idea really brings us back to one of the big drivers of the expansion of the meat bar category. It almost comes full circle. We see these brands take off powered by the macro trends that you bring us. All right, so we've been through the protein and the fat of the land, and I think we got to get back to the floor to see what other trends we can bring back.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us, and we hope to see many of you at Project NOSH Brooklyn on June 8th.